Imagine a man who locked eyes with a random girl on a rooftop. Floating above her head was the number 4000. This number did not represent her weight or her age. Instead, it showed how many people this sweet girl was destined to murder. Our protagonist stared at her like a teacher who found the answer to a difficult test. Now consider a different scene. The same man walked into a warehouse filled with 30 armed Yakuza members. They carried guns and blades. He turned off the lights. When the lights returned, he was the only person still breathing. He had no wounds or scratches. The room was full of corpses. Meanwhile, a girl across the city tried to save a subway full of strangers. A dangerous arsonist threatened the passengers. She managed to save everyone without taking a single life. The passengers walked out safely. However, destiny was a petty force. A metal sign fell and killed the arsonist instantly. Fate always won. In a snowy orphanage, an albino girl with a soft voice was killing her friends. She believed she was a comic book hero. She thought everyone else was a villain. This scene was one of the most disturbing moments in the story. There was also a detective who could see how many lies a person would tell. He sat in his car after a successful arrest. Suddenly, the killer he hunted for months shattered his window. It happened as easily as a child throwing a rock through glass. This story is called The Number. It is about to become your new obsession. The main character is known as Number. This is the name used by the news and the public. It is a fitting nickname for a man with a cursed ability. When Number looked at a person, he saw a yellow digit above their head. No one else could see these glowing figures. The number told him exactly how many people that person would kill. If the number was 0, the person was safe. They would live a normal life and complain about small problems. If the number was 1, they might commit a single crime of passion. Number left those people alone. He did not punish accidents. However, if the number was 2 or higher, they made his list. A digit of 2 indicated a pattern. This person was a future serial killer or a warlord. Instead of waiting for the crimes to happen, Number killed them first. He was a preemptive strike in a hoodie. The math was brutal but simple. He killed one monster to save dozens of innocent lives. This was a cosmic subtraction problem. To the public, he was the most terrifying serial killer in Korea. No one knew his secret code. They only saw the rising body count. We know the truth, which makes it easy to support him. The story truly began with a girl named Jiun. She had a sweet face and a quiet voice. However, Jiun had a major problem. Her father was the legendary serial killer Mo Han-chol. His face was on every warning poster in the country. Jiun barely knew her father. However, society did not care about the details. When her identity leaked online, she became a public enemy. People sent death threats and spat at her on the street. Everyone treated her like she inherited a killer gene. 2 criminals decided to target her. They mistakenly believed she was the sister of the killer known as Number. They wanted fame and online views. These men cornered her in an alley with knives. One of them recorded the event on a phone. Jiun thought she was going to die. Number arrived exactly at the right moment. He did not give a speech. He saw the numbers above the criminals. Both men were destined to kill many people. He eliminated them quickly and efficiently. One attacker tried to use a knife, but Number turned the blade against him. After the fight, Number looked at Jiun. He saw the number 4000 above her head. He had never seen a number that high before. Most killers he found had double or triple digits. 4000 indicated a genocide or a massive war. Jiun stood there crying and apologizing. Number felt confused. His rules told him to kill her immediately to save 4000 lives. That was his entire purpose. However, he hesitated because of his own dark history. He chose to walk away instead. Jiun returned home to more trouble. Her personal information was trending across the country. The internet turned against her completely. Even her former teachers lied about her character. Only her best friend, Baek Min, stayed by her side. Baek Min treated Jiun like family. This loyalty made Baek Min a target. A grieving man whose daughter died because of Mo Han-chol was watching them. He wanted revenge on Jiun to ease his pain. He attacked them on a quiet street with a weapon. Baek Min jumped in front of the blade to protect Jiun. Number appeared again. He moved with perfect precision. He disarmed the attacker and pinned him to the ground. Then, Number looked at the digit above Jiun's head again. The number had changed from 4000 to 1. Number was shocked. In his experience, these numbers never changed. They represented a fixed destiny. A drop from 4,000 to 1 was impossible. He realized something was very strange about this girl. He decided to keep Jiun close to him. He wanted to understand why the rules of the universe were bending. Number took Jiun and the injured Baekmin to a safe place. He explained everything about the digits and his code. Jiun struggled to believe the story. However, she had been suffering from strange migraines and flashes of light. Suddenly, she saw numbers too. They were not kill counts. Jiun saw timers above people's heads. These digits showed exactly how much time a person had left to live. Number's eyes lit up because this discovery changed everything. They saw two different sights. These were two pieces of the same puzzle. He saw the killers, and she saw the time of death. Together, they could stop tragedies before they happened. They could pinpoint the exact second a killer would strike. They could pull the innocent people to safety. Jiun agreed while she was still crying a little. She wanted to feel useful and prove she was not like her father. She wanted a reason to exist. This was the first time anyone offered her something kind. Their partnership began at that moment. Their first real case arrived almost immediately. The case involved a quiet suburban family. This family included a mother, a father, and a child. Number spotted a random man on the street. The man had a nasty number 3 above his head. Number followed the man home and then to his workplace. He followed the man back to the same house every night. The man was a stalker. He had fixated on the mother for several months. The stalker was escalating his behavior. Based on the number above his head, he was about to become a killer. He planned to take the whole family down with him. His plan was very ugly. Number did not tolerate such evil. Jiun pulled up the timers over the heads of the family. All 3 timers were set to expire on the exact same day. They shared the same hour and minute of death. Their deaths were timed to the exact second. This was a bright red warning label on the front door. The 2 partners moved into action. Jiun set up a distraction to get the family away. Number waited inside the house in the dark. He waited like a patient nightmare. The stalker slipped through the back door with a kit of horrors. Number was already there waiting for him. The takedown was quick. Number did not monologue or gloat. He granted the man a last quiet wish. This was part of the strange moral code that Number followed. Number honored the final request of every person he killed. These requests were often small things like a cigarette or a song. He might allow a phone call or a prayer. Then he finished the job. This practice was the closest thing he had to a soul. The stalker was gone and the family lived. The timers over their heads changed to show long lives. Jiun watched the digits change with tears in her eyes. After months of feeling worthless, she finally felt a sense of purpose. However, someone else was watching them. Detective Samuel Guan arrived on the scene. He was from the Anti-Corruption Division. Samuel wore a sharp suit and had a sharper attitude. He used a rehearsed smile that did not seem honest. Samuel believed the law was only a suggestion. He played a dirty and smart game. Unfortunately for the duo, Samuel had special eyes too. Samuel could see lies. He did not see lifespans or kill counts. He only saw lies. A number hovered above every person he met. This number showed how many lies the person would tell him. Every time they lied, the count went down. This made Samuel a very effective interrogation officer. He was like a walking lie detector. Samuel had been investigating the stalker case. Neighbors reported a strange couple in the area. Security cameras caught blurry images of them. Samuel connected the dots very quickly. He figured out that Jiun was at the scene. Once he knew about Jiun, he knew about Number. Everyone in the country wanted to catch this ghost. Samuel had finally found a lead. He did not move to make an arrest yet. Instead, he watched and waited. He wanted to set the perfect trap for them. He wanted a trap that would make him famous. Meanwhile, Number moved on to a much larger target. News of his killings spread through the criminal underworld of Korea. One name appeared in many whispered conversations. A Yakuza boss operated out of a warehouse district. This district was on the outskirts of the city. The boss was an older man who thought he was immortal. Number obtained a photo of the man. The number 33 sat above the boss like a crown. This meant the man was scheduled to take 33 lives. These futures were already marked with an expiration date. Number packed his gear for the mission. Jiun tried to go with him, but he said no. He told her this mission was different and very heavy. She did not argue because she knew he was right. She was not ready for that kind of night. Number arrived at the warehouse alone. There were about 30 men inside the building. They were armed with guns and blades. The boss was surrounded by his most loyal guards. A normal person would have driven home. However, Number walked in like he was late for a meeting. He killed the lights first. Every fuse in the building popped at once. The warehouse became pitch black. This was when the real fight started. Number had a second ability that was very useful. When he looked at himself, he saw a number 2. He could not see his own kill count. Instead, he felt a weird, invisible pulse. This pulse represented his own survival. When he moved through a fight, the pulse guided him. If he took a wrong step, the pulse dipped. If he took the right step, it stayed steady. It was as if the universe whispered directions to him. This helped him stay alive in the dark. Number became like a villain in a horror movie. He drifted through the room like smoke. Every dodge was perfect and every strike was fatal. Bullets meant for him hit other men instead. Guns went off in every direction and bodies dropped. Muzzle flashes lit up the room for a split second. In each flash, Number appeared calm and covered in blood. The Yakuza boss screamed orders in the middle of the room. He listened as his men die one by one. He could only hear his crew shouting and falling silent. The room became quieter with every passing second. Finally, the emergency generator turned on. The light revealed a scene from a nightmare. There were bodies everywhere. Number stood in front of the boss. He wiped his blade clean as if he was finishing dishes. The boss did not even try to fight. Number asked for his final wish out of habit. The boss whispered the name of a woman. He wanted a message delivered to her. Number nodded and then finished the job. He saved 33 lives in one clean night. Before leaving, he found something in the office. He found a file and a photo. The file contained a name he had not heard in years. The name was Nuna. He discovered that Nuna was in Korea. Every choice he had made led to this moment. Every drop of blood on his hands was about to be challenged. Nuna was the reason he became a killer. He realized that she was coming for him. Number was halfway back to his car when it hit him. His vision blurred and his knees became weak. Blood started leaking from his eyes. He had used his sight too much that night. He had tracked over 30 enemies in the dark. He had also tracked his own survival pulse. This heavy workload finally took a toll on his body. He stumbled against a wall and breathed heavily. He still held the crumpled photo of Nuna. That name had been in his brain for many years. He had tried to keep the memory locked away. Seeing her face brought all the memories back. Everything around him went white. The scene shifted away from the city and the warehouse. The noise of the present faded away. We land in a place covered in thick snow. The snow muffled all the sounds of the world. A giant iron gate rose out of the snowdrifts. It was covered in ivy and rust. The name Mother Charlotte's Home for Children was carved on top. It sounded like a cozy place with fireplaces. However, it was not that kind of place. It was a restricted compound far from any city. It was cut off from every road. There was nothing around it but forest and mountains. Every window had bars and every door had a lock. These locks only opened from the outside. There were no phones or televisions in the compound. The kids did not even know what year it was. Some children did not know what a city looked like. This was where Number grew up. His name was Dom back then. He was a skinny and quiet boy with big eyes. He walked the halls with a permanent flinch. In this place, you never knew when a hand would strike you. The rules were very simple. You had to obey and excel without question. The teachers said the children were special and blessed. They claimed the kids were destined to wipe out the wicked. It felt like a dangerous cult. Every child in that orphanage received training. They did not study math or reading. Instead, they studied combat and tactics. They learned how to be silent and obedient. They woke up at dawn to run laps in the snow. They punched bags until their knuckles bled. They memorized kill points on a mannequin. If a child fell behind, they were punished. If a child cried, the lights were turned off. Daume hated the orphanage with his entire body. However, he had 3 things that kept him going. The first was a boy named Haniol. Haniol was a big kid with a loud laugh. Haniol took the hits meant for Daume during training. He would pretend to trip to protect his friend from the cane. Haniol dreamed of running a bakery one day. He dreamed of pastries in that concrete nightmare. The second person was a girl named Yule. She had a sharp tongue and made jokes. Yule kept the group laughing when things were hard. She sneaked bread from the kitchen to share at night. She named all the pigeons in the courtyard. She called Daomei the boss as a joke. Yule was the bright light of their small group. The third person was Nuna. Nuna was different from the others. She was the oldest of the four children. She had the softest voice and very pale skin. Her white hair caught the light like frost. She had red eyes that saw everything. Nuna was an albino. Other kids whispered mean things about her. Dom put a stop to the teasing. Nuna took him under her wing when he arrived. She taught him how to fold his blankets correctly. She taught him how to eat fast so his food was not taken. She called him her little brother. She was the only person in the world who truly saw him. Dom loved Nuna. He loved her as a child loves a protector. She was the only warm hand in a very cold world. Then there were the teachers. The teachers are monsters in blazers. Every last one of them is a monster. They smile like grandparents but hit like bricks. They speak softly and torture their students patiently. The worst of them is a hulking man the kids call Helmet Teacher. He wears an actual helmet all the time, both indoors and out. It is a dented and scratched thing that hides his whole face. Nobody knows what the man looks like. Nobody wants to know. Helmet Teacher runs the discipline squad. When you are called to his room, you might not come out. Remember that helmet. Under the helmet is a face this story is saving for later. Under it is Mo Hanchol. Yes, he is the father of Jiun. That is Mo Hanchol. He was in this story since the first minute. We just did not know it. He walks these halls right now and torments little Daomei. He has no idea about the future. Decades later, his own daughter will team up with this scared kid. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Right now, our little crew is just trying to survive breakfast. The days blur together. Snow melts and snow falls again. Bruises fade but new ones bloom. Daomei, Haniol, Yule, and Nuna become a family. They share heat under one blanket during winter blackouts. They pass secret drawings on scraps of paper. Yule draws Haniol as a giant loaf of bread. Haniol draws Yule as a pigeon queen. Dom draws Nuna as a knight. Nuna draws Daomei as a little star. They plan to escape in 100 different ways. None of the plans work. The gates are too tall and the woods are too thick. The teachers always find you before nightfall. One kid tried to escape and was dragged back. He did not sit at the dinner table for 3 whole weeks. When he finally returned, he did not speak again. But the friends do not stop hoping. Hope stays lit like a candle behind cupped hands. Then Nuna starts changing. The change is subtle at first. She stops laughing at the jokes of Yule. She stares at random kids in the cafeteria for a long time. She whispers to herself during chores. Dom notices, but he tells himself she is just tired. He thinks she is stressed or growing up. He thinks that kids get weird, but they always come back. Nuna does not come back. One night, Nuna wakes Daomei up. She puts a hand over his mouth. Her red eyes are glowing in the dark. The glow is faint, but it is real. She whispers to him that she is seeing things. She sees numbers above the heads of people. It is like a comic book she once examined. This was before the orphanage when she lived somewhere warm. The hero could see who deserved to die. He would spot the villains by their marks. He cleaned the world one bad guy at a time. Daomei feels his stomach drop. Nuna smiles a very sweet smile. She tells him she thinks she is the hero now. She thinks fate picked her for a huge purpose. She thinks she was born to save the world. Daomei is only 10 years old. He has no idea this is his origin story. He pats her hand and tells her to sleep. Nuna nods and kisses his forehead. She goes back to bed. The next morning, a teacher was dead in the courtyard. The neck was twisted and the body was posed. A little chalk mark was drawn beside the body. A comic book panel was taped to the wall above him. The character in the panel was smiling. Chaos broke out at the orphanage. The teachers screamed and searched for the killer. They dragged kids out of bed one at a time. Nobody talked because nobody knew anything. Dom knew the truth and could not breathe. He watched the face of Nuna across the courtyard. She looked calm and serene. She looked like a saint who finished a chore. She winked at him. Dom wanted to throw up. Over the next few weeks, more teachers vanished. Chalk marks showed up in the hallways. Comic panels fluttered down from the vents. The staff started to lose their minds. Helmet Teacher walked the halls with heavy steps. Discipline became harsher for everyone. Kids were punished for things they did not do. The adults had no other outlet for their fear. Yule was slapped for humming. Haniol was denied food for slouching. Dom was nearly locked in solitary. Through it all, Nuna kept smiling. Dalma tried to talk to her. He begged her to stop before everyone was killed. Nuna just tilted her head at him. She told him she was cleaning the world. She said she could see who was rotten. She said that even the other kids had numbers. Some of those children were villains too. She had to stop them before they grew up. Dalme froze because he understood her words. She was not just after the teachers, she was coming for the kids. She was coming for their friends. Nuna brushed the cheek of Dalme and told him not to worry. His number was a 0, so he was safe. She said he would always be her little brother. She promised to take care of everything. Then she walked away while humming a song. Dalme could not sleep for days. He watched everyone and tried to find a plan. He was only 10 and had no plan. He was a kid drowning in a nightmare. One quiet afternoon, Nuna found Haniol in the storage room. This was big and soft Haniol. Dalm walked in a minute too late. Haniol was on the ground. He looked peaceful with his eyes half open. A chalk mark was by his head. A comic panel was taped to a flour sack. Nuna was crouched next to him. She wiped her hands with a rag. Dalm dropped to his knees. He wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Nuna looked up and smiled at him. She said Haniol was going to be a bad man. She saw the number 2. This was enough to matter. He would have hurt people in the future. He had to go while he was still kind. She did him a mercy. Dalme whispered no. Nuna hushed him like a nurse. She pulled a knife from her pocket. She handed the knife to Dalme. She told him it was his turn to help. She said that Yule was next. The whole world of Dalme tilted sideways. Nuna explained that the number for Yule was also above 2. Yule would grow up wrong and hurt someone. It was better for Yule to go now. Nuna said she would do it. She just needed Dalme to keep watch. Dalme looked at the knife in his hand. He looked up at Nuna. He knew what he must do to end this. He had to kill his big sister to save his friend. His hand shook, and the knife almost fell. He could not do it. He looked at her soft face and red eyes. Every memory came rushing back. He remembered the blanket and the bread. He could not make his arm move. Nuna saw his hesitation and smiled wider. She took the knife back gently. Then she walked past him. Dalme tried to follow and warn Yule. He was crying and could not see. He ran into hallways he did not recognize. He heard the laugh of Yule and sprinted toward it. He was too late. Yule was already gone. Nuna stood over her while humming. Dalme collapsed in the doorway. Something in him broke that day. The break never fully heals. He became something colder. He did not hesitate anymore. He ran on math instead of feelings. Feelings got his friends killed. Feelings almost got the world killed by giving Nuna a head start. He decided he would never freeze again. The rest of the orphanage fell fast after that. Nuna cleaned the house, teachers and kids died. Weeks later, the compound was discovered. Most students and staff were gone. Dalme was found hiding in a cellar. Nuna was not there. She slipped out during the chaos. She is a ghost story now. Helmet Teacher is missing too. He was one of the last adults standing. He became a killer that headlines chased for years. He is the father of the girl in this story. Dalme grew up in foster homes. He was not a normal kid anymore. He learned that hesitation kills the people you love. He learned that mercy at the wrong second is a loud scream. He built a brutal and clean code. If he sees a 2, he takes a 2. If he sees a 0, he walks away. He must save the many and never freeze. His eyes opened on their own at age 15. He saw digits and a yellow glow. He accepted it as a gift. The ghost story called Number was born. Now we go back to the present. Our guy is in an alley near the warehouse. Blood is dried under his eyes. He crushes the photo of Nuna in his fist. The past hit him like a truck. He wipes his face and stands up. His phone buzzes. June is calling him non-stop. He picks up on the 4th try. June is on the edge of tears. She speaks so fast that he can barely follow. She saw a crowd with matching timers. They all tick down to the same minute. They are all near the same subway station. She found a disaster in motion. Whatever it is, it happens tonight. Number tells her to stay put. She does not, because she is Jun. She has a heart the size of the moon. She runs to the station. The station is busy with the rush hour crowd. Workers and teenagers are everywhere. A grandma has too many bags. A little kid is asleep on the shoulder of his mother. June sees the countdown above their heads. 13 minutes, then 12, then 11. She scans the crowd for the source. She looks for the destined criminal. She finds a man on the far platform. He is middle-aged and nervous. He has a big canvas bag at his feet. Jiun sees a number above his head. It is 47. He is about to burn 47 souls alive. He has fuel and matches in the bag. He is inching closer to the moment. Jiun panics. Number is still miles away. She is on her own. She hears the rule of number in her head. Kill the criminal to save the crowd. It is the only guaranteed way. Fate does not accept negotiations. But Jiun is not number. Jiun cannot bring herself to walk up to a stranger and end him. She looks at the arsonist and sees a lifespan over his head. There are decades left in his timer. These are years of a life he does not deserve. But it is still a life. She freezes. Then she has an idea. It is a crazy and hopeful idea. She wonders if the numbers are as fixed as everyone says. She thinks about slipping out of fate by watching her own timer. If she keeps her eyes on her own remaining lifespan, she might be able to react. She might catch it flickering as she moves. Then she could pull people out of the way. She wants to break the pattern without breaking the man. She tries it. Her own timer floats above her head and reflects in the glass wall of the platform. She keeps one eye on it as she pushes into the crowd. She starts nudging people and talking to them. She makes up excuses for the strangers. She convinces a grandmother to move down the platform by claiming she dropped something. She tells a teenager to switch cars because his friend is over there. She wakes a sleepy child so his mother carries him toward the exit. Every time she moves someone, she sneaks a glance at her own timer. The numbers flicker just a hair. It is a tiny bounce. It feels like fate is annoyed but not sure how to act yet. She keeps going faster and bolder. She is playing a real-time puzzle game where the pieces are strangers and the timer is her life. She gets people onto other trains and through turnstiles. She spins a believable story so one man thanks her and jogs to the exit. The car belonging to Number screeches up outside. He is running down the stairs. He sees her working the crowd like a magician on fire. His jaw drops in surprise. Then the arsonist snaps. He kicks the bag open and fumbles for the matches. He starts shouting a speech that nobody has time to hear. The crowd finally realizes what is happening. Screams tear through the tunnel. June launches herself the last few feet. She drags a stunned couple away from ground zero and shoves them behind a pillar. Her own timer plummets. She is about to be right in the blast. She looks up and is ready to accept her fate. However, nothing happens. The arsonist tries to strike his match, but it does not light. He tries again, and still nothing happens. He looks down at his fuel and realizes half of it spilled in the chaos. Half of the liquid soaked into a puddle. The other half is running under the tracks. The man panics. He grabs a bottle to relight the fire. His shaking hand smacks a metal pole. The bottle drops and rolls away. Jiun opens one eye. Every timer in the station has shifted. The passengers she moved no longer have countdowns. They all have long lives ahead of them. The ones she could not reach in time also saw their timers increase. Years were added back to their lives. The crowd is safe. The whole platform is going to walk out of here. June almost cries with relief. But this story does not offer relief for free. Destiny has been watching this entire time, and Destiny does not lose. Above the head of the arsonist, that ugly 47 starts glowing red. The numbers stutter, then the timer drops to 0 all at once in a single blink. A groaning sound rumbles from above. One of the huge metal station signs hanging over the platform snaps its bolts. The sign is full of rust and old fittings. It is bad luck and perfect timing. The sign plummets from the ceiling. It lands directly on the arsonist. The sign does not hit anyone else. It only hits him. He is crushed instantly. The universe is doing bookkeeping in real time. Jiun stares at the scene. She whispers something that might be a curse or a prayer. Number sprints down the last steps of the platform and grabs her arm. His face is a mix of pride and terror. He is proud because she did something he thought was impossible. He is terrified because he saw fate correct itself in real time. It means the rules of their world are scarier than he thought. They both freeze when the sirens start. Detective Samuel Guan has been waiting for them. Samuel has been tracking the movements of Jiun for days. He saw her heading to this station. He noticed the anomaly and saw the car belonging to Number. He has a full team on the way. However, he wants to make the arrest himself. He wants the credit and the headline. His men sweep the platform from both ends. Number sees them coming and curses under his breath. He shoves June into a maintenance corridor. He tells her to run, but she refuses. He tells her again, and she still refuses to leave. He physically turns her around and pushes her forward. They both run together. They almost make it out. Samuel is smarter than they expected. He already has a car waiting on the side street where the corridor ends. His men grab Jiun the second she surfaces. Number tries to double back. The tunnel behind him fills with police officers. He gets tackled and pinned to the ground. Someone puts a knee on his back. Then Samuel walks up with a slow and rehearsed smile. He looks down at Number and then at Jiun struggling in handcuffs. He tells his crew to bag them separately. He wants them apart to gain leverage. He wants to see Number squirm. He plans to use the girl to pull answers out of him. They shove Jiun into the back of the personal car belonging to Samuel. Just the two of them are in the vehicle. Samuel slides into the driver's seat. He turns around and gives her that same smile. Then he leans in and starts asking questions. Jiun stays silent. She stares out the window. Above the head of Samuel, digits are ticking. It is his lie count. Every time he tries to intimidate her with a false story, the digit drops by 1. She notices the change. Samuel notices her looking at the numbers. His smile flattens. He tells her the game is over. He says that Number is finished. He tells her the country will hail her as a hero if she cooperates. That last lie drops his number by a full point. Jiun opens her mouth to speak. She never gets the chance. A crack rips through the car window right beside the head of Samuel. The fist of Number comes straight through the glass. Shards fly everywhere. There is blood on his knuckles and rage in his eyes. Samuel does not even have time to reach for his gun. Number is here. Detective Samuel Guan is about to learn why the city is afraid of a man with a number for a name. Glass rains down over the shoulder of Samuel. The arm of Number is still inside the window frame. His fist is clenched. Blood drips down his forearm from where the glass cut him. He does not care, and barely even notices the wound. His eyes are locked on the detective. The temperature inside the car feels like it dropped 40 degrees. Samuel freezes completely. The rehearsed smile of the detective disappears. His hand is halfway to his holster. He cannot decide whether to draw his weapon or duck. He realizes the man he hunted on paper is different in person. Jiun is in the back seat with handcuffs on her wrists. Her jaw hangs open in shock. She was about to speak to Samuel. Now she just stares at the bloody knuckles of Number. She thinks they are the most beautiful thing she has ever seen. Number speaks first. His voice is quiet. It is the kind of quiet that makes a room go silent. He tells Samuel to let the girl out of the car. He does not yell or threaten. He just states it like he is reading the weather. Samuel finally finds his voice. He tries to sound tough. He starts a sentence about how the block is surrounded. He says that backup is coming and there is nowhere to run. Above the head of Samuel, the lie count ticks. 2 of those 3 statements are false. Number cannot see the numbers, but Jiun can. She catches the eye of Number through the shattered window. She looks at the skull of Samuel. She holds up 2 fingers behind her back. Number understands the signal. He is not a slow man. He tells Samuel that lying to a girl who sees through him is embarrassing. The face of Samuel twitches. His grip on his own gun tightens. That is when the standoff turns into a fight. Samuel goes for his weapon. Number is already moving. He rips the driver's door open and grabs Samuel by the collar. He drags him out of the car in one motion. The detective is not small or weak. He was trained for exactly this kind of situation. He plants a foot and swings an elbow. The blow catches Number across the jaw. Number barely blinks. He drives Samuel back against the side of the car. The gun belonging to Samuel goes flying under the vehicle. Now they are fighting with only their fists. The 2 men trade shots on a quiet side street. A girl in handcuffs watches from the back seat. To her, it is the best show she has ever seen. Samuel is a good fighter. He was clearly the top student at the academy. He gets in 3 sharp hits. He splits the lip of Number and catches him in the ribs. He opens a fresh cut over one eye. The detective is fast and clean. He fights like a police officer who has been in real alleys. Number is not a police officer. Number is a coldly efficient nightmare. He has been ending killers for years. He absorbs the punches and tracks the rhythm of Samuel. He starts reading the patterns like a book. Every 3rd strike, Samuel loads his weight. He puts his weight onto his left leg. Every time he does this, his guard drops by 1 inch. That 1 inch is a highway for Number. Number waits and baits him. He absorbs one more hit on purpose. Samuel throws the exact combination Number was waiting for. The weight of the detective shifts. His guard dips. Number slams a palm into his throat. He hooks the ankle of Samuel and puts him on the pavement. He hits the ground so hard the whole car rocks. Samuel gasps for air. He tries to roll away. Number pins him with a knee on the chest and one hand on his jaw. It is simple and final. Any harder and the fight would be over. Now the situation becomes interesting. Number does not kill Samuel. He cannot do it. The number over the head of Samuel is a 0. Detective Samuel Guan is corrupt and smug, but he is not a murderer. The code followed by Number will not let him touch a 0. He hates this reality. You can see the anger in his face. He hates that this lying detective gets to keep his life. He hates that a rule he made keeps the man alive. But that rule is important. It is the only thing keeping him from becoming a monster. He leans in close instead. His voice drops even lower. He tells Samuel one thing. He says that if Samuel ever touches Jiun again, there will be consequences. Number will find every lie the detective ever told. He will drag them all into the daylight. He will let the world eat Samuel alive. The lie count above the head of the detective is completely still. Number is not bluffing. Then our guy stands up. He steps over Samuel like he is stepping over a wet paper bag. He opens the back door. He picks the lock on the handcuffs for June. He uses a small tool from his pocket. The handcuffs pop off. Jun rubs her wrists and stumbles out into the street. She looks back at Samuel on the pavement. He is still catching his breath and staring at the sky. His lie count is glowing above his head. It just increased by 1. He is already inventing a story for his bosses. He will claim he was ambushed by a rogue partner. This lie puts a target on the back of Jiun for the next round. Jiun tells Number that the number went up. Number does not ask by how much, he just nods. They get in the car and disappear into the city. They leave before the backup for Samuel can round the corner. This confrontation was a truce and not a win. Number and June both know the truth. Even though he is embarrassed, Samuel will not learn his lesson. He is the kind of man who only learns after many failures. He is going to come back harder and meaner. He will have more resources next time. But they have a bigger problem tonight. Both of them can feel it. In the jacket pocket of Number, a crumpled photo is still there. It feels like it is burning a hole through his chest. The photo is of Nuna. Nuna is in Korea. He had been carrying that knowledge for 2 hours. It was already changing the way he breathed. Jiun noticed the change in him. She waited until they parked in a quiet lot behind a closed factory. Rain started to fall on the windshield. It was a small and thin rain. The rain felt like the sky was fidgeting. She asked him what happened at the warehouse. He did not answer at first. He just stared through the windshield. Then he pulled the photo out and handed it to her without a word. Jian looked at the image. She saw a woman with very pale hair. The woman had red eyes that reflected more than they should. She also had a small and calm smile. That kind of smile would put a person at ease at a coffee shop. However, it would haunt them at 3 in the morning. Number told her flatly that this was the person who taught him the cost of hesitation. He did not say more than that yet. Jian did not push him for answers. She was smart enough to know that some wounds only open when they are ready. Instead, she reached over and put her hand on his wrist very lightly. She just left her hand there. For a second, the man almost broke. His shoulders dropped as if all the weight in him grew tired at once. His breathing shook, but he did not cry. He did not get close to breaking down. He just let one long breath out. He stared at the photo as if it might dissolve if he looked hard enough. Then he tucked it back into his jacket and straightened up. He drove them out of the lot. There was no time to fall apart. The next morning, headlines exploded across the city. The news was not about them. Instead, it focused on the Yakuza warehouse. More than 30 bodies were discovered overnight in a burned-out building near the docks. Police were scrambling and reporters were very excited. Every crime channel on the internet ran new theories. The alias of Number was trending again. A fresh nickname was circulating along with new conspiracy videos. Fresh fear spread through the public. Jian watched the news feed on her phone and shook her head. She pointed out the lies being told. If a spokesman talked about the killer, the lie count would melt down. None of those people knew the truth. They did not know he saved 47 souls in a subway station. They did not know he cleaned 33 future graves out of one warehouse. All the world saw was a body count. Number told her that was fine. He said it had to be that way. If people knew his abilities, they would try to use him. They would try to buy him or own him. They would turn him into a favorite assassin for the government. His code only worked if he stayed away from every leash on the market. Then he told her something important. He told her their little team was only useful if he stayed a ghost. Their partnership of sight depended on secrecy. The moment anyone pinned them down, the whole operation would end. Every future person they could save would die because they got caught. Jiun nodded because she understood. She was already living life as a public monster. She did not need any more convincing. Then she asked the question he had been expecting. She asked him what her real number was. Number looked at her. Above her head, that digit still said 1. It was the same as when he saved her from the grieving father. The number was the same as it had been this morning. It had not moved or blinked. It had not gone back up. He told her the truth. He told her about the 4,000. Jiun's face went white. She went very still. Her mouth opened and closed again. Her hands started to shake in her lap. She whispered the number back to him as if asking a teacher to correct a mistake. He nodded slowly and confirmed that was what he saw. He saw 4,000 in a single glance. The number appeared above her head in broad daylight. Jiun burst into tears. These were not soft tears. It was the kind of crying that comes from a child who suddenly understands something horrible. She apologized even though she had no reason to do so. She told him he should have killed her. She did not understand why he let her live. She believed if that number was real, then everyone was right about her. She felt her father's blood was in her veins. She believed she was exactly the monster the internet described. Number let her cry. He did not shush her or rush her. He just waited for her to finish. When she finally slowed down, he told her the part that mattered. He told her that the number changed. That had never happened before in his entire life. In every kill he ever tracked, no digit ever moved. A number only changed when the person died. The numbers never went up or down by a single point. Numbers were destiny. Destiny did not renegotiate. However, her destiny did change. She dropped from 4,000 to 1 in a couple of days. Something rewrote her fate. He did not know what or how. Whatever caused it proved that the rule everyone lives by has a crack in it. If her number can change, maybe everyone's can. Maybe destiny is not a wall. Perhaps it is just a suggestion. June stopped crying halfway through his explanation. She stared at him as if he handed her a key. Then she asked him very quietly if his own past could change too. He did not answer that question. He started the car and drove. But something small unlocked in him. You could see it in his hands on the wheel. His grip loosened by 1 millimeter. That was a lot of movement for him. They swung by the hospital to check on Beck. Thankfully, Beck was alive. She was banged up and had stitches in many places. However, she was awake and grumpy. The first thing she did was joke about the hospital food. That was typical of her character. She was loyal to the last punchline. Jiun sprinted to her side and hugged her very hard. The doctor actually cleared his throat at the sight. Beck laughed and winced at the same time. She told Jiun that if getting stabbed meant getting sleep, she would do it again. Jiun sobbed into her friend's shoulder for a solid minute. Number waited outside the room. He did not like hospital scenes or bright fluorescent lights. He stood in the hallway with his hands in his pockets. He watched the reflection of himself in a dark window. Above his own reflection, there was no number. He had never seen his own kill count. That was the one blind spot in his ability. He could see what people would do, but he could not see himself. Maybe there was a mercy in that. His phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. He almost ignored it, but then swiped to read. The message said he had grown up very much. It called him little brother. His hand tightened around the phone until the plastic creaked. There was exactly one person who ever called him that. It was Nuna. His breath went short and his vision tunneled. He looked up at the ceiling as if he could find her through the tiles. She was not there. She was somewhere in this city watching and tracking him. She wanted him to know she knew he was back on the board. Another buzz came through. It was a photo of the Yakuza warehouse taken from a rooftop across the street. The photo was very recent and taken last night. Nuna was watching him work. She saw the whole operation from 50 meters away. She was probably sipping something warm and admiring his handiwork. She acted like a proud teacher. His stomach turned at the thought. One more buzz arrived. The message stated that she missed him. He did not reply. He shoved the phone in his pocket as if it were on fire. When Jiyeon walked out of the room, she saw his face. She asked what was wrong. He did not tell her yet. If he said the name out loud, it became real. He would have to admit his oldest ghost was not a ghost anymore. She was a walking and watching human in his city. He told June they needed to move and lay low. He said Samuel would come at them hard. He needed a place to keep her hidden. He needed time to figure out the next play. June did not argue and just nodded. She had learned to read his silences. This silence was louder than any speech. They drove way out of the city. Number had a safe house in a rural stretch that he built himself. It was a little cabin with solar power. There were no neighbors for miles. There was no signal unless you climbed a specific hill. It was not pretty, but it was a fortress. They settled into the cabin. June slept on a small cot near the door. Number slept on the floor near the window with one eye open. This was how he had slept since he was 10 years old. 2 days passed quietly. The time was not peaceful, but it was quiet. Number used the time to plan his next move. He mapped the city on a corkboard. He pinned photos of Yakuza contacts and criminal fronts. He also added known haunts for Samuel. He started drawing lines between them to connect the dots. He tried to figure out how Nuna slipped into the country without alarms. Jiyeon watched him work. She saw the way he chewed the end of a pen when stuck. She saw his shoulders unlock when he made a connection. For the first time, she saw what he looked like as a person. She liked what she saw. On the third night, she asked him about his eyes. She was not asking about the digits. She asked about the strain and the bleeding. She noticed it at the subway and in the car. Pushing his ability past a certain point resulted in blood and blackouts. She wanted to know how bad it became. Number told her the truth. It was bad and got worse every year. Some mornings he could not remember the night before. Big chunks of a mission would be wiped out of his head. He called those black nights. He had experienced a handful of them. Each one took a few days off his memory. Each one left him a little emptier. Jiyeon looked at him with wet eyes. She told him he could not keep doing this alone. He reminded her that he never asked her to volunteer. She said she was volunteering anyway. He did not argue with her. Then she asked about her own power and the cost. He told her he did not know yet because her ability was fresh. She was still testing it. However, he had watched her long enough to know the dangers. If she kept pulling stunts like the subway, she would burn out fast. She might burn out faster than he did. They needed rules and training. They needed to be smart. He started teaching her right there. He taught her the basics first. He showed her how to look without looking. He taught her how to check a timer with a glance. She learned how to disengage from a digit when her head throbbed. He drilled her for hours. She was a fast learner and very driven. She was not thinking about her father anymore. On the fourth day, they got their first hit. Jiyeon spotted something on the news about a rich businessman. He was holding a press conference and waving off accusations. Jiyeon caught the timers of the security guards. Every security guard had a countdown ending on the same night. The countdown ended in 3 days. That was not a coincidence. It was a plan. Number pulled up the photo of the businessman. He magnified the image and waited to read the digit. The number 9 appeared above the head of the businessman. This meant 9 future kills. He was certainly planning to kill the security guards. The man wanted to erase witnesses who knew too much. 9 loyal men were about to be erased. The jaw of Number locked in anger. Jiyeon stood up and said what he was already thinking. She told him they were going. Number nodded in agreement. He glanced at his phone. There was one new message from the unknown number. It told him to have fun tonight. The message also said she would be watching. Nuna knows the target. Nuna knows the plan. Nuna is toying with him. She is not going to just walk up to him and say hello. She is going to make him earn the reunion. She is going to make him climb through every trap she sets. These traps lie between now and the moment they meet face to face. He does not tell Jiyeon, not yet. However, he grabs his coat and tosses her a jacket. They head for the car. Somewhere in the city, an albino woman with a soft smile pours a cup of tea. She watches a screen and hums a song from a comic book she examined when she was little. Number is coming, she cannot wait. The estate sits on a hill outside the city. It stands like a giant middle finger to the working class. White walls and marble surfaces are everywhere. The driveway is so long you would need a snack halfway through it. Security cameras are mounted every 10 feet. There are guard dogs. A wrought iron gate stands tall enough to make a giraffe feel short. This is the kind of place where the owner probably has a helicopter. He likely calls it the little one. Our guy parks half a mile down the road. He tucks the car behind a stand of trees and kills the engine. Silence flows in. June sits in the passenger seat and stares up at the mansion. She chews the inside of her cheek. She asks if they are really doing this. He tells her yes. She asks if it is a trap. He tells her it is also a trap. She stares at him. He simply shrugs. He tells her the trap does not change the math. 9 guards are going to be executed tonight if they do not move. 9 families are going to get a knock on their door tomorrow morning if they hesitate. The trap can wait its turn. Jiun exhales and nods. They get out of the car. Number leads the way through the trees. He knows this kind of estate well. He has cracked places like it before. He has a rhythm to his movements. He moves slowly. He watches the sight lines. He times the guard rotations. Every step lands exactly where it should. Every breath is quiet enough to disappear. Meanwhile, Jun trails behind him and does her best. She is not trained for this. She is a girl who used to walk to school with a lunchbox. But she is picking it up quickly. She keeps her feet exactly where his feet were. She flinches every time a branch snaps under her shoe. However, she does not complain. Not once. They reach the outer wall. Number scans the perimeter. He spots cameras here and there. Motion sensors run in a strip along the top. He pulls a small device out of his pocket. He points it at the nearest camera. The little red light goes dark for exactly 5 seconds. That is the window of opportunity. He boosts Jun over the wall first. He catches her on the other side. Then he drops down beside her without a sound. Inside the estate grounds, the garden is a whole world. There are sculpted hedges. A fountain stands there that could bathe an elephant. Little lights line the path like this is a wedding venue. Somewhere off to the right, a peacock actually screams into the night. Of course this man has peacocks. Number crouches behind a hedge. Jun crouches next to him. He points to the second floor of the mansion. There are big windows and warm light. That is where the businessman is located. Spread out across the grounds are the 9 security guards. Above every one of their heads, Jiun sees a matching timer. All of them are ending in about 40 minutes. Above the businessman's head, that number 9 sits smug and glowing. Above every other person in the building, the timers are long. This includes the cooks, the maids, and the drivers. Their timers show decades left. This means whatever the man is planning is targeted. Only the security detail is on the chopping block. Jun whispers a question. She asks how he plans to kill them. Perhaps he will use poison or a bomb. Maybe a hit team was hired. Number does not answer because he does not know yet. But he intends to find out. He tells Jun to stay put behind the hedge. She refuses, obviously. He gives her the look. She gives him a look back. Finally, they compromise. She moves to a slightly closer hedge with a better view of the driveway. Congratulations, Jun. You have negotiated up to hedge number 2. Number peels off toward the mansion. He climbs the ivy on the east side of the house. It feels like it was installed for him personally. He reaches the second floor balcony. He picks the lock on the sliding door in under 10 seconds. He slips inside. He finds himself in a hallway with marble and a chandelier. There is a painting of the businessman on a horse for some reason. Somewhere down the hall, he hears voices. He follows them. He finds the businessman in a huge office with a fireplace crackling. The guy is on the phone. He is sipping something amber. He laughs that little chuckle that rich villains do in movies. Number tucks himself behind a curtain and listens. The plan is worse than Jiun guessed. The businessman is not planning to poison his guards or shoot them. He is planning to frame them. He is about to call in a fake threat. This involves a fabricated home invasion. His own personal guards will die heroically defending the estate. This scripted crossfire will be carried out by a private security firm. Consequently, everybody dies. Everybody looks like a martyr. Nobody who worked with him on his shady deals is left to talk. He gets to grieve on camera. The billionaire gets to sell a book about resilience next year. Case closed. Number clenches his jaw audibly. That is a rare sound from our guy. The businessman hangs up. He walks over to a wall safe and opens it. Inside are files, cash, and a small black notebook. He tucks the notebook into his jacket. Then he moves toward the door, humming to himself. Number lets him leave. He does not want to kill this guy in his own office. That would be too clean. It would be too easy for the man's private squad to spin a story after. He wants the businessman found on the lawn during the attempted massacre. He wants his own men still alive as witnesses. That is the version of tonight that ends careers. He also wants that notebook. He follows the businessman at a distance. He moves as a silent ghost through the halls. They go down a service stairwell and into the wine cellar. In one corner is a second door with a keypad. The businessman punches a code and steps through. Number waits and counts to 20. He slips through before the door reseals. The corridor beyond is bare concrete with cold lights and steel walls. This is the part of the mansion not meant for guests. This is where the real business happens. At the end of the corridor is a room with a long table. Around the table sit 6 men in suits. They are not staff or security. They are hired teeth and professionals. Every one of them has a digit above his head. Every one of those digits is above 2. These are real killers. This is the paid squad. The businessman greets them and passes out envelopes. He explains the timeline for tonight. The guards will die at 11. Fake body cam footage will be released at midnight. A press briefing will follow at 7. He congratulates everyone on a successful evening. Number reads the room. There are 6 paid killers and 1 rich orchestrator. 9 guards outside do not know they are on the menu. It is simple math. He gives the businessman 10 seconds to spread his own DNA around the room. The man pats shoulders and shakes hands. Then Number moves. The lights do not go out this time. He does not need them to. There is a wall of decorative wine bottles in the outer cellar. Number pushes one very gently. The whole rack tips forward with a rolling crash. Every head in the killer room snaps toward the door. They come running. Number is already gone from the doorway. He is above them. He climbed a support beam in the ceiling in less than a second. Now he is watching them file out beneath him. They look like ducks at a shooting range. He drops on the first one for a silent takedown. The guy does not even get to shout. Number rolls behind a wine barrel and waits. The second killer notices his friend on the ground. He panics and calls out. That draws the third and fourth killers in from the room. Number pops up behind them and puts them both down quickly. 2 men are left in the corridor now. They fire wildly. Bullets shatter bottles. Wine explodes in geysers. The floor turns red and sticky in 10 different shades. Number ducks and slides across the wet floor on one knee. He comes up under the 5th killer's guard. He is done. He grabs the falling guy's gun and spins. He drops the 6th killer as he rounds the corner. Silence returns. The businessman is still standing in the doorway of his killer room. His mouth is open and an envelope is in his hand. He stares at Number. He stares at the wine-soaked corpses. Then he stares at Number again. Finally, he does what rich men always do. He tries to negotiate. He starts babbling numbers. He mentions millions and tens of millions. He offers cars, houses, and offshore accounts. He offers our guy a life he cannot imagine. He promises full anonymity and full protection. All Number has to do is turn around and walk out. Number walks up to him instead. He is calm as anything and holds out his hand. He asks for the notebook. The businessman blinks. He hands it over out of pure shock. His body is on autopilot. Number opens the book and flips through. He sees names, dates, and amounts. One very specific column looks like a list of victims from previous accidents. This is enough dirt to bury 3 mansions. It is enough truth to feed every reporter in the country for a year. He pockets the notebook. Then he grants the businessman his final wish. It is the code. It is the whole code. This applies even for this man. He asks the man what he wants before it is over. The businessman has nothing rich to say. He just stammers about wanting to see his daughter. Number nods. He tells him he can pass along a message. The man whispers a name and a short sentence. It is actually kind of tender. Then it is done. 9 future graves are erased. Number heads back up the stairs. He needs to grab June and get out before dawn. He steps out onto the lawn. That is when the whole night stops being a mission. It starts being a reunion. June is not behind hedge number 2. She is standing in the middle of the driveway. She is not alone. There is a woman standing next to her. Her pale skin seems to glow slightly under the estate lights. Her white hair is loose in the breeze. Her red eyes catch the reflection of the fountain. She has a soft, patient smile that has not aged a day in 20 years. It is Nuna. She has one arm gently around Jiun's shoulders. She treats her like a favorite niece. Jiun is not moving. Her eyes are darting side to side. Her hands are shaking at her sides. Nuna is not restraining her. She is not holding a weapon. She is just standing there, humming a little song from the orphanage. It is the one from the comic book she loved as a child. Number stops. He forgets how to breathe. Nuna sees him. Her whole face lights up the way it used to in their old dorm. Her eyes get warm and her smile stretches wider. She says his name. She does not use number or his code name. She uses his childhood name, Daomei. She says it softly, almost singing it. He does not answer. Nuna tilts her head. She tells him it is rude to make a big sister wait this long. She tells him she has been trying to get his attention for weeks. She tells him she is proud of him. She says it exactly like that. She sounds like a teacher watching a favorite student. Then she asks him if he has been eating properly. To any other person, that would be normal. Because it is Nuna, it is the most disturbing sentence he has heard in years. Jiun finally speaks. Her voice is small. She tells him this is the woman who has been texting him. She says Nuna walked out of the trees like she owned them. She says Nuna did not try to hurt her. Nuna just walked up, put an arm around her, and started humming. Number's eyes flick up above Nuna's head. Her digit is not a kill count. It is something else entirely. A number floats there, glowing softly. It is not yellow like the kill count digits. It is a pale silver color, and it is not 2. It is not 10. It is not 100. It is very, very high. He did not know what her ability showed. He never did. Even in the orphanage, she saw something different from him. Back then, she told him she saw who was a villain. As an adult, he assumed she meant kill counts like his own. Looking at her now, at that silver figure humming above her head, he was not so sure anymore. He asked her directly what her sight actually showed. Nuna clapped her hands once with delight. It seemed like she had been waiting for someone to ask. She told him that she saw saviors. Specifically, she saw the number of lives a person would save. His stomach dropped because that realization reframed everything. This changed the meaning of her whole life. It explained every child she killed in that orphanage. It explained every teacher she executed. She was not just seeing villains. She was perceiving who would grow up to save lives. She hunted anyone whose future save count was lower than she thought they deserved. She was pruning the world according to a scoreboard only she could see. This meant Haniel, who wanted to run a bakery, had a low save number. Chatty little Yule with the pigeons must have had a low number too. In that broken logic, they were not children. They were dead weight. Number wanted to throw up. He wanted to draw his blade and end this right here. However, he could not do it. Above Nuna's head, in his own sight, there was no kill count. He forced himself to look and strained until his vision blurred. He waited for the yellow figure to pop into place. Nothing appeared. There was no 0, no 1, and no 2. There was nothing at all. She had no visible destiny for him to read. She was a blind spot to his eyes, just like he was to others. Nuna saw the exact moment he realized this. She grinned with the most horrifying smile he had ever seen. She told him they were the same, and she always knew they would be. She claimed fate was a game where they were the only players. Everyone else was just pieces on the board. She took her arm off Jiun's shoulders very carefully. She did not want to wrinkle the girl. She stepped forward while Jiun stumbled back a step. Number took a step forward at the same time. Now the three of them stood in the driveway like a terrible family portrait. Nuna looked at Jiun over her shoulder and spoke sweetly. She told Jiun that she was very special. She said Jiun's save count was one of the highest she had ever seen. Jiun froze as Nuna smiled wider. Nuna explained why the massive figure of 4,000 dropped to just 1. Jiun made a choice to become a saver without even realizing it. She bent her fate with her own hands in the alley. This was why the numbers moved and why she was standing here alive. Then Nuna's smile flattened by a tiny amount. Her voice went very quiet. She told Jiun that a high save count meant a threat to the wrong people. Number did not like the direction of this conversation. He stepped between them and told Nuna to go through him first. Nuna laughed with a bright, delighted, and girlish sound. She clapped and said she had been waiting 20 years, or 2 decades, for those words. She told him he had grown up beautifully. She said she was going to enjoy this. Then she reached into her coat and pulled out a small comic book. It was old, battered, and had yellow pages at the edges. It was the book from the orphanage that she had kept all this time. She held it up, kissed the cover, and slid it back into her pocket. She told him the hero had more work to do. She flicked her wrist. A thin blade dropped out of her sleeve into her hand. Number pulled his own knife. The two of them began to circle each other. Nuna moved first, and she was faster than he remembered. The blade whistled past his throat. He ducked and swept at her ankle, but she was already gone. She spun behind him and tapped his shoulder with the knife like a joke. She giggled and scolded him for being slow. He turned and came at her hard. Now came the terrifying part of the encounter. Number's whole combat style was based on reading his own pulse. Every dodge was guided by an internal alarm. This alarm told him whether the next step would get him killed. He fought like he was following a treasure map only he could see. Nuna knew this about him. She grew up next to him and watched him fight in the training yard. She learned every one of his tells before he even had them. She fought like she had examined his instruction manual. With every strike he made, she was already stepping into the correct spot. She cornered him without cornering him. She herded him toward a wall of the estate. She kept him off balance without ever really touching him. This was not a fight. It was a demonstration. Jian watched with her hands over her mouth. She saw the timers over both of them. Nuna's timer did not move. However, the timer for Number was dropping steadily. Each second took a little bit off him. Jian started moving, although she did not know what to do. She just knew she could not stand there. She remembered how her own timer stabilized when she acted. She remembered what Nuna said about bending fate. She looked up at Number's timer and reached for it with her mind. Nothing happened at first. She was not built to alter the fate of others. However, she looked at her own timer and then at his. She did something none of them had tried yet. She ran into the fight at a full sprint toward Nuna's back. She had no weapon and no training. She only had adrenaline and a very good friend. Nuna heard her coming and pivoted to swat her aside. The blade whipped around. Jiun kept her eyes locked on her own timer. The timer plummeted and then it stabilized. Then it plummeted again. She was threading a needle by moving on instinct. The ticking of her own life guided her. Her ability told her exactly what would kill her. The blade missed her by a hair. Jijun collided with Nuna's back with a full body slam. It was not powerful, but it was unexpected. It threw the perfect predator off her rhythm by one whole beat. Number did not waste that beat. He drove forward and his blade slashed across Nuna's forearm. This was the first blood drawn. Nuna hissed as she was more surprised than hurt. She spun and kicked Jun off before skipping backward. She looked at the cut on her arm, and then at Jun. She looked at Number breathing hard. She laughed a full-body laugh of delight. It was as if she had just watched a new magic trick. She told them this was even more fun than hoped. Sirens wailed as someone in the estate finally called the police. Lights flicked on all over the main house. Guards were shouting from the front doors. Nuna tilted her head at Number and blew him a kiss. She told him that next time would be better. She flicked her wrist and a canister hit the driveway. Thick white smoke flooded the space. Number lunged through the smoke, but he hit nothing. He whirled around and saw that Nuna was gone. She vanished into the smoke like she was never there. He grabbed Jiun and hauled her to her feet before they ran. They sprinted back through the garden. They climbed over the outer wall and into the trees. Behind them, the estate exploded into activity. Flashlights swept the lawn. The businessman would be found dead. His notebook would be missing, and his killers would be dead. The 9 guards, nearly a full squad, would wake up very confused. Number and June crashed through the woods. They ducked branches until they reached the car. He shoved her in and jumped into the driver's seat. They peeled out and disappeared into the dark. Neither of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Jiun looked at him and spoke softly. She told him she was sorry for getting caught by Nuna. She apologized for being useless and running into the fight. Number did not look at her while he kept his eyes on the road. His hands were white. He told her she just saved his life. He told her nobody had ever done that for him before. He told her thank you. Jiun's eyes filled with tears as she turned away. Somewhere behind them, Nuna was running water over her cut forearm. She was humming in a quiet apartment. The little comic book was open on her counter. She flipped through the pages like she was looking up a recipe. She smiled to herself. Somewhere in a hospital bed, Baek Min was finally sleeping without pain. Somewhere in a police station, Detective Samuel Guan was staring at his reflection. He had a fresh bruise and a growing lie count. He was planning, and he was furious. He was not done yet. Somewhere in a hidden bunker, a rusted lock started to rattle. News of the return of Number had traveled fast. The man behind that door had been waiting. The helmet teacher was stirring. Mo Hanchul was coming back. He had a very specific reason to hate our protagonist. He had one specific daughter to reclaim, and a score to settle. The board was set, and the pieces were moving. Number had no idea his life was changing. The second half of his life was beginning. It would make the first half look like a simple warm-up.